I think the case of Peter Kariúki, Major General Peter Kariúki, is one of the 20 cases that the government should quickly and urgently address. Its effect, you know, when the government wants to do anything, there is a ripple effect. I don't think there is any ripple effect that the government would suffer or the country would suffer for the injustices delayed. Major General Peter Kariúki is one of the 20 cases of we Afandes who are suffering, yet the government is behaving as though everything is okay. If possible, the issue should even reach the president himself, the commander-in-chief. As I've said before elsewhere on this channel, that the initial squad that formed the Kenya Air Force was composed of around 25 cadets. Cadets like Major General retired Gishuru, Captain Omondi, and others. They were taken to Kiganjo simply because the Prime Minister or the Chief Minister, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, did not want the Governor General or even the Queen, who was the head of state, to know that he was forming up an air force. So the second lot, that was the lot that was there in 1964. The second lot was there in 1965, which composed of also about 25, if not 30, flight cadets. One of them was Peter Kariúki. He joined the Kenya Air Force. By the time he was joining, it was already a Kenya Air Force, but the initial training was at Kiganjo. Yes. Army used to train in Lanet, and Air Force used to train in Kiganjo together with police officers. So Peter Kariúki rose up the ranks, and in 1981, Moi transferred Major General Gishuru from being the Air Force commander to be in the office of the CGS, Chief of the General Staff, General Mulinge. So his deputy was promoted and made a Major General. That is Major General Peter Kariúki. Peter Kariúki started heading the Air Force in 1981. When he headed the Air Force in 1981, he had just completed a year, because in 1982 he received information. That members of the Air Force wanted to overthrow the government. Him, being the Air Force commander, went and shared the information with the Chief of the General Staff. Nowadays we call it Chief of the Defense Forces. He talked to the Chief of the General Staff, General Jackson Kimeu Mulinge. He told General Mulinge that he had heard that there was to be a coup attempt. General Mulinge took the information, and even twice or thrice, when the information continued spreading, he went back to his boss. For those of you who are in the disciplined forces, you'll agree with me that he did the right thing. He went back to Mulinge twice or thrice, asking where the whole story of the coup attempt was being planned. What did Mulinge tell him? Mulinge told him that the matters had been issued to 3 formations. The information had been forwarded to military police. The information had been passed to military intelligence, and the information had been passed to special branch. That is what Mulinge told him. He did that several times. He told Mulinge several times, but Mulinge kept telling him that. Then come July 31st, 1982, when we had the agricultural show in Nyeri. We had the agricultural show in Nyeri. The agricultural show was conducted by the president, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. And the formation that gave him guard of honor was the Kenya Air Force. And as he was marching past the Kenya Air Force, obviously he had to have the Kenya Air Force commander with him. He went and he was with the Kenya Air Force commander with him. As they were inspecting the guard of honor, Major General Peter Kariúki looked at the faces of those askaris. All that he read in their faces was hatred. Imagine standing before your worst enemies. So he read their faces that way. And as they went to the dais, he bent over and talked to Mulinge. He said, hiyo maneno ya imefika. Mulinge said, don't worry, the issues are with competent authorities. Then he stopped that. After the show, of course, Moi, if you read the book written by the then provincial Musila, David Musila, provincial commissioner, Central Province, the activities of Moi is that he knew the coup was there and he had his own plans on what to do. So he accepted the coup to go ahead with the express intention of having an excuse to do whatever he wanted to do. But then we are talking about Major General Peter Kariúki. After Peter Kariúki had completed the show, he went to Timau. From Nyeri to Timau is not very far. And then the coup attempt happened. He was arrested, taken to Nyayo House. From Nyayo House, he was taken to Kamiti, where he spent 150 days in solitary confinement. Now, if 150 days, that is 5 months, 5 continuous months in solitary confinement. Somebody else in the same committee would wake up at 8, go, walk, be in the sun, farm, whatever. But somebody told me that even in prisons, kids of big people are treated well. He stayed there. According to the law then, and maybe today, the law says that if during your jail term, you possess good behavior and something, the commissioner of prison can give you a parole. That means when you complete 2/3 of your sentence, the commissioner of prison, today is called Commissioner General, the Commissioner General of prison can release you to go home if you have completed 2/3. But on the day he went to jail, the commissioner said he will serve to the last day. So he completed his jail term. Hakukatiwa hata siku moja. That is Peter Kariúki. He later came out. He took the case to court. The court found that he was wrongly dismissed and he was awarded money. Not only was he awarded money, he was awarded, the court decided that the court martial was a kangaroo court. I'll talk about it just now. And then they said that justice was not been done, so it rubbed that he never served the jail term and that he should be reinstated as a major general, given all military medals. Let me tell you, if you have never served in the disciplined forces, we respect medals more than ranks. We respect this. here more than here. We respect this more than here. Court ordered that he should be given back his ranks and all his medals. Hizi mashilingi mnaonaga hapo. So he was to be given that, and he was to be taken back. He was to be taken back to Moi Air Base and be pulled out the way the other generals have done. Kipchirchir, we are not more than 30. Do what was decided for us, please. I've talked to some people. I've done my research, especially when I was with the special branch. You hear cases where there is an exchange of prisoners of war. And prisoners of war, they say, it is better to spend 10 years in the prison of an enemy than even 10 days in the prison of your own prison. You have gone to fight a neighboring country for your country. You are arrested there. Our people also arrest soldiers from there. Then they exchange. Many believe it is better to be in a prisoners of war camp in the enemy than in your own country. Because these are the people you fought for, and these are people who are treating you like that. Now, lastly, let me talk about how the kangaroo court was happening. It happened this way. One, it happened this way. When he was taken to court martial, the presiding officer was General. By then he was Major General Lenges. Major General Lenges is the one who presided it over. In a court martial, there is an officer, a commissioned officer who presides it. But he is assisted on the technical side by a judicial officer. In Kenya, it is a magistrate, a judicial officer who is called judge advocate. Because this thing is legal, it has to. You have to be in future. It affects your good conduct certificate. So a judicial officer has to be there. Now, in that all setting, the only people who have been to law school were two. There is the military advocate. There is a military advocate who is, yes, he's a military man, but he's also on the list of the Law Society of Kenya as a practicing lawyer. And then the judge advocate is a magistrate who is also a lawyer, but now a judicial officer. And the duty of the judge advocate is that he or she is the one who is a judicial member, let's say a magistrate, a judge, something like that. But he or she is not doing the job. The person doing it is the presiding officer. So he has to be the technical supporter of they have to be the technical supporter of the presiding officer. But what did this magistrate do? What the magistrate did, he was more of a prosecutor than even the prosecuting advocate who was a military major. This is what happened. And I have to thank Kariúki. It also happened to me that you sit before proceeding. Me, I sat in a proceeding that is called orderly room proceeding. You already know you already know that you'll be convicted. You already know you'll get the maximum, but you do the proceedings. Just like the day I told you that when you are recruited, don't go away, just hang around. Even if you are 99% sure that the proceeding is a kangaroo court, just follow the proceedings. So Major General said he wanted to call his witnesses. The judge advocate banned it. He told the presiding officer, don't accept. You see, the judge advocate is supposed to assist the presiding officer, behave like a judge, but he was telling that one overruled. He reached a place and said, I've been accused, and that is what do you call? In a tree, we have something we call taproot, isn't it? We have a plant. In plants, we have something called taproot. That is one big root that these other ones are not even important. Peter Kariúki case lied on one thing. He had been charged with knowing that the coup will be there and doing nothing. So by calling General Mulinge and asking, did I not tell you this? Mulinge would have said, you told me. And that would be the end of the case. But the judge advocate, who was a magistrate, nullified that. But all in all, and then again, there were questions which, you see, Peter Kariúki is a pilot. From school, he went piloting. There are some even initial planes which used to come to Kenya. He would go to the manufacturers and fly. You know, in Kenya, in many countries, this is what they do. If they bring a new plane, pilots, even Kenya Airways and whatever, pilots from here would go there, stay for a few months, learning how to operate it. And those pilots from Kenya are the ones who are to fly that plane to Kenya while they are being supervised by the manufacturers. So Peter Kariúki had brought a lot of planes in Kenya in those early days. And he brought a lot of planes. And so he's not a lawyer. He doesn't know much about law, but he performed brilliantly. He went and said that he needed Major General. He was behaving more of a lawyer than even the lawyers who were there. Kangaroo court was done, and injustice was done on him. Kipchirchir, please, and I'm using the word please because I believe when something is yours, you don't use the word please, but I'm using the word please. Take the 20 or so affandes, whom the government already knows that they have to, their allowances, their rank, whatever should be given. Let them die happy, because our days are almost there. With the due respect to Major General Kariúki, I don't think the next 15 years he'll be alive, but make the 15 years his happiest, because there is nothing as happy as dying when you know that your justice has been restored. Why should justice be done posthumously? It is you, Mr. President, I'm asking.